Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM News at 5. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
And I'm Whitney Ward. Thank you for being here. Right now, a 2.5-year-old child is fighting for his life at Sacred Heart Medical Center.
Last night, a car on Highway 27 near 24th Avenue hit a family of 4, including the child that were crossing the street. All were taken to Sacred Heart Medical Center.
So that is where KREM 2's Janelle Finch is right now. She's joining us to tell us the status of that family.
Mark and Whitney, it's been an emotionally draining 24 hours for Josh Hendricks and his family. He says following last night's accident, his wife and 2 sons, 11 months old and 11 years old, have minor fractures and bruises. But his 2.5-year-old son, who was ejected from a stroller at the time of the collision, is currently in critical condition with brain swelling. A single moment almost changed Josh Hendricks' life forever. Just after 8 p.m. Tuesday night, Josh learned his wife and 3 kids were hit by a car.
My wife video called me to let me know what was going on. At the moment of the call, it was my son Thor was getting CPR, to bring him back because he had no pulse at that time.
Josh says he was in Seattle when his wife called. He says he immediately got on the next available flight home.
The only thing that kept going in my mind was, gotta get home. God, let him still be alive when I get there.
Baby Thor is alive, thanks in part to Miranda Henry.
I've been CPR certified since I was 16.
Henry says she was one of the first on scene and performed CPR until first responders arrived.
Just kind of focused on the little boy. I kind of pictured my daughter at first because I got a daughter the same age. Freaked me out a little bit. And then just focused on the mom. I thought about her. She's standing right above me.
In addition to 2.5-year-old Thor, Josh's 11-month-old and 11-year-old sons were also injured. Josh says his youngest is still under observation at the hospital. His oldest was discharged with minor leg fractures.
God's at our core, and so the biggest thing for us is just maintaining our hope and belief in God and knowing that, our children are in His hands.
Josh says this is a route his wife has walked before, but this was the first time with the kids. According to the Washington State Patrol incident report, the family failed to recognize the oncoming vehicle at the time of the collision. WSP says the 16-year-old driver will not face criminal charges. A family member has started a fundraiser for the Hendricks to help them cover current and future medical expenses. A link to that fundraiser is currently live on our website, KREM.com. Live from Sacred Heart Medical Center, Janelle Finch, KREM 2 News.
Janelle, thank you very much. Turning to some breaking news nationally after technical issues going live on Twitter just hours ago, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis threw his name into the pool of Republicans running for president.
So during his two terms as Florida governor, he led the charge on a conservative cultural crusade, signing bills to prohibit classroom discussion of gender identity and sexual orientation. It's known as the Don't Say Gay law. He also helped ban abortion after 6 weeks. And in his announcement video this afternoon, DeSantis leaned on economic growth and law and order as pillars of his campaign.
Just into our newsroom, the Spokane County Sheriff's Office is asking for your help finding a missing woman.
She was last seen in North Spokane, so take a look at this picture. 26-year-old Brianna Walton was reported missing by a family member, saying that they hadn't spoken with her since last Friday. Deputies believe she was going to a home on the 9500 block of North Atlantic, which is in North Spokane.
Walton is described as about 5'9", 125 pounds, with brown hair, brown eyes, and a distinctive heart and wings tattoo on her upper chest. If you have seen Walton, you're asked to call Crime Check at that number right there at the bottom of your screen. All right, taking a break from the headlines to talk weather with Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo. A pretty nice start to the day, but then some ominous clouds moved in tonight.
Yeah, we heard a little bit of thunder. Jeremy, do you think the worst is over for tonight?
I do.
Okay.
I really do. I think things are calming down. That means you still might see some showers. You still might hear that thunder, maybe even see a little bit of lightning, but for the most part, a little bit calmer. Right now, our temperatures sit in the mid-60s, 65 degrees. And believe it or not, our warming trend is still in the works across much of the inland Northwest. Some of that heat quelled by the presence of our atmospheric low, or a cutoff low sitting overhead. That cutoff low sits right about same spot there. There's our fancy low. This is how they draw them in the book. So boom. That's the low pressure center. So around that, you get added lift because of the rotation in the atmosphere. So your counterclockwise rotation helps give us some of the lift that supports some of this activity or some of these storms. So let's go ahead and zoom in. There we go. Got rid of it. So a couple of storms kind of popping up. I kind of, these ones along Highway 2, just south of Newport, kind of making their way along there. Those are likely going to stay a little bit stronger for the next, I'd say, hour and then die down. And then everybody dies down and clears out. Tomorrow, a couple of stray storms off to the north to start the day, a couple of scattered showers in the afternoon, and that winds up being about it. I'd say mostly sunny, isolated storms Thursday and Friday, but look at those temps back up near 80 and staying there even as we get some rumbles of thunder come Saturday.
Right.
Sorry, Saturday.
Thanks for the clarification, Jeremy. All right, just today, the Spokane Police Department put in its order for a new tool that restrains people who are under arrest.
Yeah, City Council gave SPD the green light on that $76,000 purchase last week. And our chief journalist, Amanda Rowley, is joining us now live in the newsroom.
Amanda, what exactly is SPD getting with this purchase?
Yeah, well, Spokane police are buying 40 of these wrap restraints with protective helmets and 200 ankle straps from the company Safe Restraints. They're based out of California. Now, compared to other methods, the department says this style of restraint is intended to reduce the likelihood of injury to the suspect and arresting officers. The Spokane Police Department is looking for ways to improve the methods used to restrain people who become aggressive when being taken into custody. It believes these safe restraint tools may be the answer.
Our teams that have been shown the wrap, we've had it on in less than 2 minutes with people that have been combative.
The department gave a demonstration of the wrap restraint at the city's March 6th Public Safety Committee meeting. SPD says the restraint is a safer alternative compared to other methods. It would primarily be used on a suspect already in handcuffs who becomes out of control.
It's a system that goes on pretty quick, and what it does is it protects him or her from kicking, doing things that are going to harm an officer, another citizen, or themselves.
Once in the wrap restraint system, officers can transfer the suspect into a patrol car and know they are immobilized.
Once they're able to sit in there and not move around, not able to hit themselves, kick the doors, kick the windows, in this situation.
Local police accountability advocates say they support the intent of this tool, but they would like to see metrics in place that can track whether it's working and keeping people safe.
If you are going to be purchasing this much stuff for the police, then we should at least have some evidence of that it's working.
Anwar Peace serves on the Washington Coalition for Police Accountability. While he appreciates the intent of this new tool, he would have liked to see additional demonstrations for the community before City Council's approval.
And if they had a proper demonstration of the tool in a real life scenario, that would also better educate council on these matters.
SPD also reassured City Council the restraint system puts no restrictions on the suspect's diaphragm. Now, City Council members collectively agreed with the idea of tracking the impacts of these new restraints and their effectiveness. That's something they will be expecting from SPD quarterly. In the newsroom, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
Amanda, thank you very much. Now we want to give you a quick look at a story that we are working on for tonight on KREM 2 News at 6. A look inside the Spokane Police Evidence Storage Facility. I was granted rare access after learning that DNA evidence from murder cases, sometimes decades old, is breaking down before detectives can get it processed.
There will become a point where all this evidence degrades to a point it's not useful.
Because even as we're standing here, it's degrading, right?
Exactly.
So how long do you think it could take? I talked with a cold case detective to learn how many cases are being impacted and what it will take to process and digitize that DNA evidence in time to help solve those crimes. So make sure to join us for that special report tonight on KREM 2 News at 6.